kind of get your experience, what it's been like working with you. So can you just give us like a quick snapshot of Growplex, your brand, and what you sell and just who your market is?
Yeah, for sure, man. So I started Growplex, I believe 3.5 years ago now. And this was a product I kind of started for myself because I was losing hair at 19 and I tried all the remedies, nothing worked. And then I ended up having to formulate something that I would have used for my past self. And we kind of started off on TikTok and we were just targeting men. And then eventually, as the algorithm and the influencers and the ads and everything grew, we realized we had a bigger demographic for women. And that's when we shifted towards, really marketing towards women and kind of scaling the brand from there, right? So overall, yeah, I've been in business for the past 3.5 years, mainly using some paid ads and also some influencer marketing as our primary growth channel. But what we didn't realize was the huge opportunity that was missing from email and SMS. So just to give you like a quick rundown, what we were doing before we started working with you, we were doing around like our 130K a month without any email or SMS. And it was just completely run and gun. As we were scaling, we were like, hey, we had this whole leakage because we have all these subscriptions coming in, we have all these customers coming in, and we didn't know like, hey, there's this big part of email. Because personally for me, when I look at promotions or emails, it just goes in the promotions tab and I just ignore it, right? But for most people, like that's actually a pretty valuable thing, especially if you're subscribing to a brand you want to feel connected to. You want to feel like, hey, especially with hair loss, it's such a personal journey, and they want to feel like they're like really like taken care of. And by really building out that full funnel strategy of like email and SMS allowed our customers to feel connected, feel supported, while holding their retention and selling them for anytime we would have sales and everything, and just really engaging that list and growing it over the years. And yeah, I've been nothing but happy working with you guys.
Awesome. I love that, man. And the cool thing about your model and just how it's evolved over time is obviously as you start to grow and you start to acquire more customers, you start to send surveys, sort of get a pulse on your market and hear directly from them. Not only do you get to grow the brand from the back end with just better messaging, better targeting, better demographics and understanding of that, but you're also a subscription-based brand, which is huge, not only for AOV, but more importantly, lifetime revenue, right? Because you're not just focused on that first acquisition, you're focused on really nurturing people and retaining them and keeping them coming back. And especially with something as intimate as hair loss, really making sure that we are guiding people and just letting them know what to expect, what they might feel, the changes that they might experience throughout the whole course of, 3, 6, 12 months, right? So I'm really curious. And you were actually sending like ad hoc emails when we first started. I think you were like 8% attribution roughly through email and SMS. Is that right?
Correct. Yeah, we were precisely at 8.29% attribution. And then once we kind of had the first full push of building out all of those flows and all those sequences with email and SMS, within, I believe, 60 to 90 days, we jumped up to 27.12%, which is an insane lift. That's like 3x. The email revenue went from like 77K to like 324K, which is like insane. And yeah, we didn't know like that whole bucket was actually missing, right? So yeah, it was a big blind spot for us that thankfully was solved. So thanks to you guys.
No, I love that. And I think one of the most important things to really mention is you got to have the proper ingredients to really make email and SMS and just retention marketing as a whole really scale. And that's honestly what we've loved really working with Growplex, your brand, is that you're just such a sharp guy. You've got a great team, but more importantly, you understand all of the different ingredients that are required for a really successful email and SMS program, right? You've got the paid acquisition on the front end. You're really working to reduce churn. You've got a killer product and you keep refining sort of your whole process and just your demographics. And that's really what allows us to be able to come in, work our magic and scale the brand more aggressively. So I'm really curious because it's been, 3.5 years since you started the brand. I know you have other partners. I know you work with other agencies. You have a Google and PPC agency. What, in your opinion, has been sort of like a standout sort of point with working with us when you sort of compare us to other agencies and other partners that might have sort of like a different flow or a different way of doing things? Like, what really stood out to you specifically?
One word, and that is personalization, right? Because with most of the people that we work with in terms of agencies, they kind of just see us as a customer or a client, right? Whereas working with you guys, I felt like, Andreas, Camilla, like you guys were my friends. And anytime we had any new ideas that we wanted to test or, anything like crazy or wacky we wanted to do, you guys were always down with it. And most importantly, it's the speed of like which we would have feedback and things would be ready by. It's something that stood out the most with you guys, working with you guys, right? Every time I'm on Slack and I see some of the people that are messaging, I'm like, oh, like I have to reply to this person, right? But then anytime I see something from Blossom, I was like, oh, okay, like cool, this one's easy, right? So it's just very easy people to work with. And then you guys are always good at taking very good feedback. And anytime, we need something or we want to make tweaks to something or we have any ideas, it's always an open-ended conversation. And it's not like, hey, like we know best. It's almost like, okay, let's collaborate on this together and let's figure something out. And yeah, overall, it's just like open-minded, down-to-earth people who we can genuinely vibe with. I can't speak. And yeah, I mean, that's what I really, really appreciate about working with you guys.
I love it, man. And I think a lot of founders and just brand owners as a whole, sort of in the position that you were at when you're at around 130K a month, business is growing, you've got a really good MVP, you got really good proof of concept, sort of arrive at this destination where they're like, it's a fork in the road, right? You can either sort of build out a team, hire in-house and sort of figure it out along the way and, maybe have to do some training, teaching, things like this. I don't want to put words in your mouth. Or you can sort of hire an experienced team that has, just a ton of reputation and a lot of really good experience behind them. Why not hire in-house and why choose working with us over sort of figuring it out on your own exactly?
Yeah, that's a great question, actually. When we were starting off early on, obviously, as the founder, my main job is to grow the business and to look at what's in front of me, right? Like, I'm not an email expert. I'm not an ads expert. My goal as a founder is how do we lead the company forward, right? And we can hire someone, get an email person, get a copywriter, get a designer, and, train everybody. But again, like, what are you really training, right? What basis do you have to train someone on email marketing? The biggest advantage of working with an agency like yours is that it's not just like you are working for us. You have so much more context working with other brands that, like, hey, this sale we're running or this, I don't know, retention pattern that we're doing on this brand was working for them. Why not? Well, we can take one brand A and brand C and work it onto brand B, which is your brand, right? So it's really about having like a full spectrum of like all these brands without any biases. That gives you a lot of different sources that you can pull from, which is the biggest advantage that was working with you guys, because you have a plethora of clients from various different industries, not just the hair industry, and something that might be working maybe in the clothing industry or something that might be working in the jewelry industry, right? At the end, it's all just marketing, and it's being able to take one concept that's working in one industry and being able to plug it in another one and still being able to make things work, which was the biggest advantage of working with someone like you, because you guys already have that experience and knowledge. And we don't have to worry about like, hey, is this email guy good enough? Or hey, what about this copywriter? It's like everything is just there for you, perfectly packaged in a done for you service. And yeah, that's it. It's very simple, easy, and straightforward, especially for someone early on in the trenches and like really trying to figure things out. For them to like bring someone on who has the experience, doesn't have to like think about it, and it's just like a full white glove service for just handling that segment. So it's not like you have to worry about anything else. So
definitely. And kind of just going back to what you were talking about originally, sort of like the first touch points when we first had, I remember the first time we ever spoke, it was so beautiful. When we first connected and you were really in the search for just a partner that can help you really scale the brand and build out the retention marketing system, what was it, right? Because I'm sure you were talking to other partners, potential freelancers and things like that, but what was it about us and just our approach that really helped you get comfortable? I know part of the process is we do like a full end-to-end audit on the brand and things like this, but can you just talk a little bit about like what was it that sort of put the nail in the coffin for you? It was like, okay, I'm really comfortable, let's sort of move forward with Blossom.
Yeah. The funny thing is when we were first starting out, I was so naive, right? I was just looking for someone to help me build out our welcome flow. And I was like, hey, as long as we have the welcome and abandon flow parts, ready, we should be good to go. I don't need anybody else. So I was just kind of like finding people and who can just help me do that. And then once I jumped on a call with you, it was like, oh, I didn't realize we had this whole other side and opportunity missing the part of the business where we can cover a lot of revenue by. And that's when we're like, oh, okay, we didn't even know this was an opportunity here. And I was like, hey, at the end, as long as it's making us more money than we're paying you, it's like, it's basically like, you know, like a no-brainer, right? At the end of the day, it's like all the people that we were talking to at that time, they were like, yeah, we can get this done, and that's it. Whereas with you guys was like, hey, we can get this done, but also here's an opportunity, here are some things that we can test that can bring you additional revenue in the business, which it did. And I was like, wow, I didn't even know that existed. So yeah, a very, very proactive people, man. So super, super happy about that.
Love it, man. I just have one more question for you. If someone is on the fence while watching this and they're considering working with us at Blossom, what would you tell them?
I'll tell them, do it, man. Honestly, do it. Like Camilla and Andreas are the best people to work with. Super down to earth, super cool team. And most importantly, like their designs are sick. Like everything that they do in terms of the emails that they design are meant to convert. And everything that they do, from like just being proactive, like whether you have a subscription brand, a clothing brand, a jewelry brand, whatever it is, like they know it, they have all the experience under their belt. And I would definitely recommend them because they're genuinely good people, good guys to work with. And yeah, I mean, I have nothing but good things to say about them. So stop on the other agencies, go with these guys, man.
Beautiful, brother. Really appreciate you taking the time to jump on here and kind of just tell us a little bit about your experience. And yeah, looking forward to crushing with you and seeing the brand continue to grow and see where we can take it.